Let's jump right into this explainer, because today we're looking at something that perfectly bridges the gap between gaming and crypto. Look, we all know mining real crypto can be absolutely brutal, right? The massive hardware costs, the insane technical hurdles, the electricity bills that make you want to cry. Well, that's exactly where Rollercoin comes in. It's a virtual mining simulator that takes all the complexities of the blockchain and turns them into a highly strategic, totally manageable ecosystem. And just to put the scale of this thing into perspective right out of the gate, 5.5 million. That's how many players worldwide have jumped into this simulator since it launched back in 2018. So we're definitely not talking about some tiny niche indie project here. This is a massive, highly active global community of virtual miners grinding away day in and day out. But, why are they spending so much time on it? Well, this next number pretty much hits the nail on the head. 91.65. That is the total amount of actual Bitcoin mined by players so far. I mean, just think about that. At current market values, that is a staggering amount of real-world wealth generated entirely through this virtual ecosystem. It proves right away that, sure, it looks like a game, but the value on the table is very, very real.
So here's how we're going to break down the player's journey today. First, we'll cover what Rollercoin actually is. Then we'll look at playing games and quests, building your mining farm, diving into the real crypto economy, and finally climbing that massive leaderboard.
All right, let's start at square one. Section 1. What is Rollercoin? A virtual mining world.
At its core, Rollercoin is a free-to-play crypto mining game. It mimics the mechanics of real-world mining, and here's the absolute game changer, it strips away all those physical barriers to entry. You don't have to worry about melting a $10,000 mining rig. Instead, you're unlocking virtual rooms, completing quests, and strategically building up a digital mining farm. And all of that effort puts you in the running for actual crypto rewards. It basically takes a super exclusive, highly technical process and turns it into an accessible, free-to-play experience for anyone.
So, how do you actually get started? That brings us to Section 2, playing games and quests, or as I like to call it, starting the grind.
This is the core progression loop, the exact path every single player takes. Step 1, you jump in and play simple minigames while knocking out daily and weekly tasks. Step 2, finishing those tasks gives you your very first bits of virtual mining power. And then, Step 3, that fresh power translates directly into your first crypto rewards. You don't need to front any cash here. Your actual gameplay and the time you put in act as your initial investment.
Now, beyond just the daily grind, there are also weekly events. By diving into these special adventures, you really kickstart your whole operation. You can earn an in-game currency called RLT, and, most importantly, you can compete to win your very first free virtual miners. This is literally the bridge that takes you from just playing casual arcade games to actually running a passive virtual mining setup.
Okay, so you've got some miners in your pocket. What's next? Let's move into Section 3, building your mining farm and scaling up those operations.
This isn't just about throwing a bunch of random items into a digital room. It is a deep, strategic puzzle. You have to optimize your entire farm. You level up by acquiring high-performance miners, but you also have to buy specific racks to house them and track down individual parts to fine-tune your strategy. You can even use the miner crafting system to merge different components and build totally personalized miners. Doing that gives you a unique edge over everyone else. It is surprisingly layered.
All right, your farm is optimized, but how does that translate into actual value? Let's get into Section 4, the real crypto economy.
To really tap into the economy, you head to the in-game marketplace. Think of this as your strategic command center. It operates just like a real-world digital exchange. You can buy, sell, or trade your miners, your racks, and those individual parts with other players. Say you craft a super rare, high-performing miner. You don't even have to use it yourself. You can just flip it right here on the market to maximize your profits and supercharge your own virtual economy.
And the proof is in the data. When you look at the live withdrawal stats alongside player activity, the numbers are wild. For example, one player actually withdrew over 254 Dogecoin after completing just 4 daily quests. Another pulled out 0.755 Solana. We're seeing massive TRX withdrawals upwards of 1,600, and someone else cashing out 0.037 Ethereum after playing 42 games. It is hard proof that players are consistently converting their virtual gameplay into real, tangible crypto across multiple different blockchains. Of course, with that kind of real-world value up for grabs, things get incredibly competitive. Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, climbing the leaderboard.
If we look at the absolute titans of the platform, the top 3 players globally, the scale is just mind-blowing. In first place, a player named Mr. Tachi is pushing an unbelievable 250.664 zettahash per second. Graphane is right behind them with over 229 zettahash, and Chang Leonard is sitting securely in third with over 131. To put that into perspective, accumulating that level of power requires intense, daily, relentless optimization and some seriously deep market strategy.
So why does all that zettahash power actually matter? Well, the game features a central reward pool that pulsates every few minutes, mimicking a real blockchain generating new blocks. The data shows these block sizes distributing massive amounts, like 19,782 Satoshi in a single drop. The system basically looks at your total power, those crazy zettahash numbers we just talked about, and gives you a proportional cut of that block. So the more power you have, the larger your guaranteed slice of that constantly pulsating reward pool. There's a quote from the platform itself that perfectly sums up the vibe here. The world of Bitcoin mining game awaits, and fortune favors the bold. It really is an ecosystem where if you put in the dedication, plan your moves carefully, and use a bit of economic savvy, you can see some truly fascinating real-world returns. Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. You understand the mechanics now, you know about the massive player base, and you know people are making very real withdrawals in multiple cryptocurrencies. So, with a real crypto reward pool pulsating every few minutes, are you ready to roll the leaderboard? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer. I hope it gave you a solid grasp on how this crazy digital economy actually works. Keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next one.